Hello and welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show. It's the Leeds United 1, QPR 0 match reaction. I'm Stephen Brown and with me as ever it is Jayson Booker. Jason, how we doing, mate?
Very well, my friend. I'm a little bit ropey, a little bit rough around the edges today. Might be a little bit croaky. Had a couple of days bender with work. So last night was a little bit rough, but we're here and, going to give it my all. And
I bet you go for it big time as well, don't you? I can imagine you. Last one out. Do you know what I mean?
You know what it is? Like, I don't do it often, but when I do it, I do it properly. I do it properly. So if I'm going to be rough the next day, I'm going to make sure that I do everything I can to enjoy it on the night.
Get your money's worth.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. And like the work lot is quite a big area, so we don't see each other too often. So it's nice when we get together. So but glad to.
Well, you're here. Look at you. What a trooper. He's here, ready to give his thoughts.
I'm glad to get that one over the line. You know, win games in different ways, aren't you? And tonight we had to see it through, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, we were winning after 9 minutes, and it was kind of easy, really, to that point. Even after that, the first half generally absolutely dominated by Leeds. But a bit of a slog that second half, wasn't it? Blackburn just pressed us a little bit more, and a couple of them flick-ons late on. I thought, oh no, there was one where Stroik missed, and it's bouncing everywhere, and you think, I not fully expected, but I could have seen a Blackburn equalise at some point.
It'd have been really interesting, Brownie, if we had been playing Blackburn, given the fact
QPR. Sorry, QPR. What am I about? Yeah, God.
You've been drinking.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, I swear I'm stone cold sober, I promise. QPR.
It was a bit of a funny one for sure, but I'm sure we'll get into it. We'll break it down. Shall we start at the beginning?
Yeah, so starting lineup, a few changes from the game at the weekend against Southampton. We saw Jayden Anthony's first start, Rodon back in the team, Gray back in the team, Ayling back in the team. Were you happy with those changes? Is it what you expected?
I think it's exactly what we expected in it. I think, I gotta say, like Daniel Farke, I think has kind of split opinions on whether we think he's getting it right, getting it wrong at times with certain decisions, certain substitutions, time substitutions, things like that. But one thing that I do like about him is he's not too hard-faced to make a decision. So he got it wrong last week. I know from watching Leeds under Bielsa that Bielsa at times would double down on wrong calls and he would just stick with it regardless and start the same play. Almost like, no, I was right first time. I'm going to show you I was right this time. And Daniel Farke today made all the changes that we needed to make. And, we spoke last week about the meritocracy of good performances, bad performances. And the facts is that there were some bad performances at the weekend and then players were pulled out and they lost the spots. And changes were made to play against the opposition. That's one thing, and also reward then, it's your turn back in because they didn't do it on the pitch. I thought Joe Rodon came back in and there were a couple of times where he went down and had taken knocks and I thought we were going to lose him, but he does make a huge difference because his recovery speed, we don't have another centre-back like that. He's so quick across the ground, he's good in the air, he reads the game really, really well, and he can distribute on his right foot. And he does in turn make Pascal better, who I thought were man of the match today. I thought he were excellent, Pascal. So Archie came back in. I thought he was excellent first half. I thought he was absolutely excellent first half, actually. I thought he, again, went a little bit quiet second half, became a little bit anonymous. The game starts bypassing him. Doesn't get on the ball as much. But I thought he equipped himself really, really well. And I thought Jayden Anthony, for me, like, he showed that he's got something that the other wingers don't have. He's very press resistant. He can keep the ball when the defenders are up against his back. He's tricky. He can go both sides. He's confident. So I was really, really happy with his performance. I mean, in terms of his technical abilities, he's again miles ahead of Dan James. Dan James gives us different things, but he's miles ahead of what he can offer us. More consistently, and then not to skip too far into the game, but the substitutions that Daniel Farke made again changed the game. They helped with the position that we were in that state of the game. And I gotta say, we'll probably get onto him a little bit later, but Mr. Bamford played an all right role today.
It's on my notes. Bamford
Yeah, it did.
very, very sharp.
I mean, it gets across the ground so much quicker than Piroe. So much quicker than Piroe. And you know, he threatened him behind, which you know Piroe can't do. He's not that kind of striker. And he caused him problems.
Well, he looked sharp. His touch looked sharp. There were a couple of points where he held the ball up and laid a couple of nice passes off. He even had a decent shot, that one where, you know, it wasn't quite one-on-one, but he kind of had a defender on him and he kind of hit it well. It was kind of a Bamford we've not seen for a while, and it's all good stuff because, you know, it's that other option, and it did change the dynamic of the game at that point, which was starting to go a little bit inward. You've gone over quite a few players there. I mean, just to kind of pull it back to it's fine. Just to go back to I agree with everything you were saying. By the way, I you know, Rodon Gray, absolutely. Anthony, I thought he was very, very impressive. Technically, another level to Dan James. Have you been reading my notes here, Jason? Is that what's going on? Because that's exactly what exactly. Yeah, but I had that thought. I mean, he just looked really good. A couple of left-footed crosses as well that were really on the money, and I think he's going to be such a huge asset going forward. The more minutes he gets in his legs and gets those appearances, I hope actually that he keeps his place. To be honest,
I would imagine that he will be first choice. At the end of the day, for me, he's our best winger. I know we've not seen loads of him yet, but on paper, he's our best winger. He's got the most championship pedigree. He's got Premier League pedigree. He's shown that he can do it at this level. He's shown he can do it at the level above. I actually think he is the most complete winger we have right now, including Nonto and Somerville. So I would imagine, as long as, you know, he's playing like he did today, he'll keep his position.
Yeah, absolutely. What about the other guy that came back into the team, Mr. Luke Ayling? What did you think of his performance?
Thought he had an all right game. There were a couple of moments in the first half where he lost concentration, control of the ball, and it went out for a throw-in, and then I think he did another one where the ball, to be fair, the second one were a bit... It came over to him quite quick, and he tried to control it, and it skewed off and went out for a goal kick. I actually thought he had an all right game, mate. Like, again... We've got to say it for what it is. I'm not saying he had a great game, but I thought he had an okay game. I felt comfortable with him. I don't think he was beaten. He was beaten maybe once by Cher and kind of strengthened him out in the second half. But I think overall he did okay, mate, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think there were any defensive problems for him tonight, which was a relief. No. I feel like quality and technical wise, though, he's not up to the rest of the team a little bit. Just there's a couple of moments where the passes go astray, the control's not quite there. There's a kind of, I don't know, he's just not on the level, I don't feel, that some of the other, you know, when you're looking at like Rodon and, you know, players of that, he just seems way, way behind that level. And I just wish Jed Spence was fit, to be honest.
If you're comparing him to Spence, it's chalk and cheese, isn't it? But in terms of what we've got available to us, you're talking as a direct comparison between him and Shackleton. And the fact is if Shackleton had played well last week or the weekend, it'd have been still in the team, but he didn't, along with a load of others. And I totally understand why he comes back in. And, you know, I know that we as fans are going to argue black and blue with regards to this situation about needing a leader or a captain in the team and whatnot. But if Daniel Farker is of the opinion, and he's the manager of the team, season week in, week out, that he needs one of Luke Ayling or Liam Cooper in the team, then fine. You know, and if that's something that he needs to work into his side while Jed Spence is out, because the positives for Jed Spence not having the experience are outweighed by his quality, then I'm okay with that. Like that's fine. We're not sat here saying that Jamie Shackleton's the next Cafu, are we? You know what I mean? He's a makeshift right back who's, you know, played sporadically for Leeds over years. So and we know he's never going to be anything more than that. So I think we need to be fair in that if Luke comes in and plays okay, keeps the spot. I'd rather have Luke Ayling at right back than Liam Cooper at centre back as a consequence.
Would you?
Personally, I'd rather have Stroik and Rodon than Stroik and Cooper or Cooper and Rodon.
Yeah.
And, do you get what I mean? If I had to pick one of Ayling or Cooper, and you have to get one of them in, I'd rather it be that way than the other. And I'm not bashing Cooper, but I just think Stroik and Rodon are by far our best centre back partnership right now.
Yeah, you've got. Yeah, it feels like you've got to play them two now. I think that is definitely the centre back pairing. Let's talk about the goal. Leeds stole possession high up. The Blackburn defender kicked it away.
Blackburn again.
Blackburn again. Cube. I don't know what's
Poor
going
guy.
on.
He's
Do
up
you
with
know
it,
what?
guys.
I don't know what. Do you know what? Even when I was thinking in my head, I was still saying Blackburn. I don't know.
Because you've listened to that commentator say Rovers for 2 hours. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's blagged my head. Yeah,
Rangers
QPR
Rangers.
lost the ball. Leeds snatched it. Rutter, who I thought was excellent again tonight, it lays it off perfectly. Somerville, nice, calm and composed finish. Really nice goal and set us up really, really well. Did you expect us to push on from there and bag a few goals after that?
I did. And I mean, it could easily have been 3 by 30 minutes. Somerville has a cracking chance that hits Piroe. He should have done better with it. Should Somerville?
Yeah,
he had the whole of the other side of the goal to aim at if he'd have just had a bit of composure. We had a couple of other half chances that we could have scored. I think second half they came out and put it on us a little bit more. Started getting right into us. There were a couple of nasty moments, a couple of nasty tackles here and there. They tried to make it ugly, which is fair enough. You know, that's to be expected when the quality difference is so big, because, you know, in 90 minutes they created one chance really, didn't they? That was hit straight at Melier later on. They came out second. I can't think of too many chances that we had second half. Couple of half chances. The Bamford one you mentioned. I think Bamford, you know, we're probably going to get on to that, so I won't ruin it. But the obviously the other moment we could have scored from as well. So, yeah, maybe we could have gone on and killed again. But you know what? We can't always go and stick 3 past Millwall or 3 past Watford like we did the other week. Sometimes we have to get through these games and win them 1-0. And I never really felt that uncomfortable. Not really. So, you know what? We win 1-0. It's a good win. It's another clean sheet.
Yeah. I'd like it to be more convincing. I'm not going to lie. I think for the quality we've got in this team, I would like to see us be more convincing in these type of games and get the goals. I really would, because I don't know. I felt a bit on the edge of my seat, to be honest. Certainly the last 20 minutes, the second half of the second half, I thought, I don't like where this is heading, to be honest. And I would have liked to have seen us.
That.
Yeah. Well, it is. It is, to be honest, because it's, you know, how many times have we been there as Leeds fans where, you know, the team have snatched a point away from us. Somerville, for me, you know, I'm a big fan of Somerville. For me, you were a little bit greedy tonight at times. I was getting a bit frustrated with him at times. And I know, like you said to me, he's got them on toast, but it doesn't mean he has to constantly try and dribble past the whole team. There were quite a few times, actually, where he seemed to refuse to pass the ball to Ayling, who was overlapping. I'm like, is he just not trusting Ayling or what?
You know what it is?
He just wouldn't do it. There was a couple of times when he could have got Rutter free and he just didn't do it. And I was like, what are you doing? Pass the ball, man.
We just saw the best and worst of him, didn't we, tonight? We genuinely did see the best and worst of him. There were a moment where he got Sam Field a yellow card, and if he'd have just played it to Rutter on his right shoulder, Rutter's in. And sure, like he wins a free kick and a yellow card, but it's just them decision making. And that's why I get so frustrated with Somerville. He did have them on toast in that first half. He was causing them nightmares. He was picking up some beautiful spots in the 10 roll and turning and running at them and being direct. But you're absolutely right. Like, and he should have had 2. It was a good finish, I will say that. Took his goal really, really well. You know, Rutter's pass. I mean, Rutter did, I think, 3 or 4 tonight where he put it on a dime for whoever was running through. First half, I thought he was again excellent, turning people. He's just having fun. Is Jorginho right now? He's bullying players in this division. It's a bit unfair, really, at times. That's how it looks. It looks like he's just such a level above them. But yeah, I thought you saw the best and worst of Somerville at times tonight. I'd have taken him off when Anthony got hooked personally in that second half.
Yeah, I was surprised to see Somerville stay on, actually.
Yeah, but it might be game time. Might just be, you know, Anthony working into playing 90 minutes. I don't know, but interesting one is Somerville, and I think until he makes them decisions more consistently, he will always. Teams won't take a chance on him at a higher level, and I think that will, you know, it's what will keep him from being a Premier League footballer, to be honest.
Excuse me. Yeah, absolutely. By the way, guys, if you're watching along, please smash a like on the video.
My
Subscribe
comments are
to
not
the
coming up today.
channel and get some comments on as well. Yeah, we haven't got the little marker to tell how many people are watching either.
Yeah, it's coming up in YouTube because I've got YouTube open on my other page. So I have seen a few comments coming in. But yeah, thank you guys.
Okay. Oh, so something's going on.
Yeah,
We're being censored, obviously.
Yeah.
QPR media team, obviously. That second half things did kind of change. The feeling of the game changed. Ampadu tonight, for you, was he back to his best, or was it still not quite 100% Ampadu? I'm wondering if, I don't know, maybe it would. It's so important to his team. I'm going to say, would it be nice to see him rested? But he is so key. I didn't feel like he was quite the best version of Ampadu we've seen, but certainly better than the weekend.
That's exactly what I thought when I was thinking about like kind of going through the players to towards talking about it tonight. I was thinking about Ampadu, and I think I'd have given him a 7 out of 10. That's just how I felt about his performance. I still think he was getting his foot. He was definitely better than he was at the weekend. It was dictating play a lot more. He was picking up the ball in good areas with space around him, being able to pick switches to get attacks underway, and it was definitely getting his foot in. But he wasn't quite his dynamic self. But he's played a lot of football and he puts his body on the line all the time, doesn't he? So it will be interesting to see what or when we start seeing Gruev. I can't remember if it was in the comments here or did I just see it on Twitter maybe, but we have seen a total combined time I think of like 3 minutes of Gruev. We don't really know what he's got yet, but at the same time you don't want to give minutes for the sake of giving minutes because that's not how you win football games. So but it will be interesting to see what he's about when he does come in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, apologies, guys. We're not getting any comments through. So if you're dropping us comments, we're not being ignorant. It's just not showing them up on StreamYard at the moment for some reason. Not sure what's going on there. So my apologies for that.
Oh, sorry, go.
So no, I was just going to say I appreciate you getting your comments in. Can you see them on there then, Jay?
I've got them on my other screen. Yeah, Martin Cook says back on track, can't hammer everyone, and I think that is a really, really good point. That's kind of what I was alluding to. Like you're not going to win every game 3-0. You can play 6 out of 10 performance, which is probably what I'd say it was tonight. I think on another day we score 2 or 3 and playing exactly the same way. But you know what, we win 1-0 tonight, and I think them wins are important. We've seen teams over the years where they've dominated games and we've come away with a 0-0 draw or a 1-1 draw or whatever. Tonight we showed enough in the back line to be able to make do with 1 goal being enough. So
yeah, I mean there were a bit of pressure tonight for me to get the 3 points. I think ultimately that's all that matters. But certainly when you look at the top 2 and how strong they are at the moment and how many points ahead of us they are already. I don't know. I would just like a few more convincing results, I suppose. But I suppose it's been a bit greedy. Let's get onto that man Bamford, because I don't know how many of you were watching the I Follow commentary, and it was the QPR commentators on it, and the moment where Struijk, that unbelievable ball from Struijk, by the way. Like, and he meant that because he's got that in his locker. It was absolutely perfect. I thought he's overhit that, and it just absolutely perfect and caused absolute chaos. Bamford runs through, takes the touch, keeper fouls him, and then a red card for the keeper. And the QPR commentary team, the lead commentator was just
lost it, didn't he?
He christened Bamford. It was Bamford the cheat, and he was saying it 5 minutes later. He was going, Bamford the cheat will take the corner, and Bamford the cheat will do this, and it was absolutely hilarious.
He lost it, didn't he? Let's just say, great, mentioned it earlier, great change by Daniel Farke. Again, I didn't think Piroe had a great game, snatched at 1 or 2 moments. There were a bit more link up. He got into linking the play up a little bit more tonight. But when Bamford came on, he changed the pace of that role. He's much quicker than Piroe is. Covers way more ground. He's better at the press. He's way better at the press than Piroe is. Different players, completely different players. He looked fit. He looked strong. He was backing into players. He was getting himself about. And you know what? He's playing without that pressure of being Leeds United's main number 9 because he's not Leeds United's main number 9 anymore. And I said this a couple of weeks ago. If we can get a version of Bamford that can give us 20, 30 minutes, he will have a part to play. And I think he made a big part in why we ended up going on to win tonight. Like, you know, football's a squad game. And in different phases of the game, you need different things. And when Pat came on, he helped us win that game. So, you know, there were the moment that he got in before that. He was linking play well, using his body well. He pulled out some beautiful touches on the left-hand side, linking up play. And then, you know, the comments have just hit.
There we go. It's just come back on, hasn't it?
The moment in discussion, there were a moment a couple of years ago, I don't know if you remember this, behind closed doors down at Southampton away, when Bamford ran through on goal and Alex McCarthy came out and like kind of went to tackle him and did foul him. Bamford tried to stay on his feet, kind of stumbled over, managed to stay on his feet, and he ended up not being able to score. And I remember him saying in the post-match interview, if I'd have fallen then, I'd have got the penalty. Like, it was clear. But I didn't. I tried to stay up, but the referee then didn't bring it back to give the penalty, even though I'd not scored. And when you think like that, in that moment, there probably was no touch. Maybe he felt just the brush, but it's not his responsibility to stay on his feet. It's just not. No, so is he theatric? Of course he is. Yeah, of course he is. But
real time, it looked like a foul to me as well.
Yeah, it did.
Real time looked like a foul. You know, you absolutely thought, come on.
If Begovic is going to be, flying out, Bamford should probably do better. If he just knocks it over him, he has a clean strike on goal. But that being said, it doesn't matter. So for me, I got no real sympathy for Begovic, really. I don't think there is much of a touch, but that's the referee's decision to make.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean? And again, a great ball from Struijk causes absolute havoc. It's interesting with Bamford as well because he's so visible when he's on the pitch. He's just so involved, it seems. And it's almost polar opposite to Piroe, who kind of link up play. I mean, are you a bit concerned about the Piroe thing at the minute? Are we getting the best from him? Is the formation, is the system getting the best out of him? I mean, I know he had that one shot, I think, today where he kind of hit it with his right foot and it was, not his best foot, obviously. But I don't know. I would love to see him be getting more chances. I mean, it's strange because, his goals for us, he's scored plenty of goals already for us, but it's a bit of a strange one with Piroe at the moment. I can't, do you know what I mean? It feels like it's not quite exploded yet. And, it was a big fee and you're kind of waiting for a little bit more, I guess.
I saw a lot of people say, a lot of well-known people in that like the tactics and know a lot about football say that they thought that Piroe wasn't suited to the tactic before we signed him.
Yeah, they did.
I've seen a lot of people say that. And I think that's what we're seeing. I think we're seeing Daniel Farke try to adjust and create opportunities for Piroe in his system by adjusting it a little bit, but that's going to take time. So for me, I'm not concerned by it because I think natural finishes are natural finishes. It doesn't matter whatever team you put Piroe in, he'll find himself in positions to score goals. But the more you can tactically kind of position him in places where the other players put it on a plate for him, the more goals you're going to score. And I think that's when you'll start seeing us take these 1-0 wins to 3, 4, 5s because we are going to score a lot of goals with the amount of attacking force that we've got. Just at the moment, the final ball isn't quite getting to the position that we need it to. Piroe looks extremely awkward at times, but we've seen strikers like this before. We've spoke about it before. Some strikers are just, their job, their sole purpose is to kick the ball into the net. It sounds really simple and stupid, but it's true. They're not there to do anything else other than that. We're missing a 10 still. I know Somerville's doing a role there, Rutter's doing a role there, but I mean, he didn't have the greatest game tonight, but you saw moments from him. Ilya Sher at QPR is the only player that they've really got of any distinct quality. And for me, I just don't understand why we didn't go out and get him for 5 million quid that was touted. He'd have been almost perfect in that Samu Saiz, Pablo Hernandez 10 role. He'd have found them little spaces in between. Rutter's doing a great job of it, but Rutter does it better from deeper. He comes way deeper than a standard 10. So he needs space to work in, whereas a 10, an out-and-out 10, like a Hernandez, he didn't need space to work in. He worked in best for us when he was in tight spaces, tight pockets.
Yeah, it feels like it's almost a little bit of a jigsaw puzzle that Farker has to work out every game, who's available, who's playing, how is this going to fit together. Not that it's square pegs in round holes or anything quite at that point, but it does feel like it's taken a bit of kind of working out. And
Browney,
sometimes it clicks better than other times.
I mentioned it to you in the first half. There were 3 moments where we got played in down the left-hand side, and Byram every single time was on his left foot. And it's not Byram's fault. He's a right back playing at left back. He's not left-footed, and he scuffs the crossing. Like, if them 3 are played to a proper left back, who's to say that 1 or 2 of them don't result in another goal? There were big open spaces, and Byram kind of scuffed the cross, and it was easy for the defenders to clear. That doesn't happen if Byram's on the right-hand side and that ball's getting played into him, or it's Jed Spence on the right-hand side. That doesn't happen, does it? So
exactly.
It's these little things, and it's why it's going to take time for it to click, because you're trying to then incorporate an inverted full-back at left back into this tactic as well. You know what I mean? Rather than out-and-out left back. So yeah, it's just unfortunate for us. It's going to take a little bit longer to click, and that's why we'll probably end up losing ground on the top 2.
Yeah, indeed. We'll get to some of your comments. Thank you very much for getting involved, Paul. The commentators in Meltdown, hilarious. Yeah, it was great. It really was great. Someone needs to clip it up, definitely. Diggler, Piroe really needs to step up his game at Leeds. Ashley, thanks for your comment, mate. Experienced Begovic, Bamford looks sharp. Piroe playing out of position.
I don't.
CB, Piroe needs to be played as a 9, then he'll get goals.
I don't think it's just as simple as that, because it's bigger than just play him in the 9. Because the tactic and the formation and whatnot around Daniel Farker's setup isn't just you play Piroe at 9 and then everything clicks together. Like we should all be able to see exactly what's happening with the way that Rutter links the play from the 9 position, because he's not an out-and-out 9, but he's better because he's quicker than Piroe at stretching defences. He's also then better at linking up to then allow Piroe to be running onto chances. If you have a look at a lot of his goals for Swansea, it's when he arrives later into the attack. He's not in and around the 6-yard box. He's arriving later to make contact with the pass that then gets probably brought back to the edge of the box or something to that kind of style and tactics. So that I can see what they're trying to do. The problem is that when it doesn't work, it literally leaves us with 10 players, because it looks like Piroe's just not involved at all. It is a tricky one. It's a conundrum that we've given ourselves by signing Piroe. It's not a bad problem to have. It's just going to take a bit of time to sort. But the thing is, if Bamford's fit, we have the ability to be able to change that.
Yeah,
because Bamford is the complete opposite of that. He does all the good attacking link-up work, but no finish.
Do you foresee a time where Bamford actually starts ahead of Piroe in, say, the next, within the next 5 games, if Bamford stays fit?
No.
You think it'll just be a bench weapon, basically? I mean, it's a nice one to have to, if Bamford's looking as sharp as that and creating that much havoc, it's a great option.
If Bamford comes on after 60 minutes at the weekend and scores 2 in the last 30 minutes and Piroe's had a bad game, then maybe. But I don't believe that Daniel Farke will be looking to kind of scrap the plan and the structure around trying to make this better for Piroe. Because I think he's an essential part of what we're trying to do. I expect him to score over 20 goals this season. I think he'll get it, no problem, to be honest. And I think the more and more they play in real life game experience, forget training because it's totally different. They can practice as much as they want, but putting it into match action is totally different. I think Daniel Farke will want to keep on persisting with that as long as possible to get that working. Personally, I don't see Bamford just earning a spot from training, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we don't know how long his body will even hold up, do we really? With his injury record as well. Michael Brown, no disrespect to Liam Cooper, but Rodon brings a commanding presence to the Leeds defence. Absolutely. I mean, we talked about at the start of the show. I mean, for me, it was a huge mistake not having Rodon in against Southampton, and a huge mistake. Hopefully that's something Farke learns from, and we don't see that again going forward, because them two have to start for me, because just a huge mistake on Saturday. And like you say, though, he's kind of, at least he's not done the hard-headed thing and just stuck with his, with Cooper, or, he's made these changes, hasn't he, at least.
I think, I think Liam Cooper and Luke Ayling are lightning rods for fans' criticism. Like, irrespective of everybody's opinions on them, people just love to go to town on them. And some of it is justified in terms of ability. But I've seen back and forward arguments on this all over Leeds social media. And the facts is that so many managers have picked Liam Cooper, and so many managers have picked Liam Cooper as captain. And they keep on picking him, and they keep on playing him. So they must see something. And, Liam Cooper playing on Saturday was not the reason that we lost that game. It's way bigger than that. Like, it could contribute, of course. It can contribute, but there were 11 players, well, not Melia, 10 players that just weren't at it at the weekend for me. They just weren't at it. And them games can happen and performances can happen. So, but yeah, of course, we need to see his best players playing. Joe Rodon is our best centre back for me. So he needs to play.
Could Leeds purchase Rodon in January windows? I'm fearing if his stock rises, so will interest from other clubs, and Spurs will up his valuation. Could be another Ben White situation for Leeds. Well, we know for a fact that he's not got a future at Spurs. I don't think there's no way that he breaks in that Spurs team. I don't think. So, maybe there's an opportunity. Maybe Leeds can put something in place. Whether we go up or we stay in this division, I'd love to see him stay at the club, to be honest.
I think it's an interesting topic, but I can't imagine Joe Rodon would want to sign permanently in January, because why would he? If he gets to the end of the season, has had a good season with Leeds and we don't go up, he'll get a Premier League move. If he gets to the end of the season and we're in the Premier League, he gets a move to either another Premier League team or to Leeds on Premier League wages. So why would he then sign permanently in January? It just don't make sense. No. So there's absolutely no way that he'll sign in January, because you got to remember, it's not just the two clubs that have to agree. The player has to agree to the deal as well. And I think Spurs, it won't make sense for Spurs either, because it'll give them another 6 months worth of time where his value is building up. So I definitely can see his point. I don't think like what you're just saying there, Brown, it's not quite the same as him going back to Brighton. When Ben White went back to Brighton, because Ben White was always kind of his idea was that it was go on to play first team football at Brighton. Joe Rodon, like Brandon says, probably doesn't have a future at Spurs.
Exactly. Please smash a like on the video if you're watching along. Really appreciate it, and it helps the channel. Oh, great point here from Paul, though. Gary Monk did not pick Cooper. Bartley and Janssen were his centre-back pairing. I've got to say, I loved Bartley and Janssen, by the way. I thought that was our best centre-back pairing for years at the time.
He was still captain. He was still the captain at the time. But you're right. Bartley and Janssen were a quality centre-back pairing. If I remember rightly, we'd got Bartley on loan at the time, though.
Yeah.
And I think so at the time. And Janssen had come in on loan as well. So they were both top quality centre-backs.
Yeah.
But yeah, fair point. But again, you're still going back 6-7 years till that.
Yeah.
It's a long time of other managers that have then picked him. So, but fair point.
Yeah. CB, do you guys think we'll see Creswell given a chance anytime soon? Interesting one with Creswell, because he's that right-sided central defender. I almost thought, would he get a chance if Rodon was out of the team? Not at the moment. I know he got some kind of sub minutes tonight, but bit of a strange one with Creswell. Got given a number 5 shirt, big future. Looked very shaky in the Birmingham game he played this year, and he looked pretty poor, to be honest. I don't think it's a true measure of what he's about or his talent or his potential, but I don't know, that performance was a major warning flag, I think. And hopefully, I hope he gets more chances going forward. I think he's still got a bright future, but it seems to be that even if you end up playing 2 left-footed centre-backs, that's what Farke's going to do with Cooper and Struijk.
I think, unfortunately for him, I think he is 5th choice, because I actually think he's probably behind Ampadu at centre-back as well. I actually do. I think he's probably 5th choice, because I think if we were without Rodon and Cooper, let's say at the weekend, I think he'd play Struijk and Ampadu and bring Gruev in or bring Kamara into the midfield. So I actually think he's quite a bit down the pecking order at the moment. From what we've seen of him in a Leeds shirt, he is certainly this season. I think we saw him in a cup game as well. I think we might have seen him against Shrewsbury.
Yes, that's right.
He struggled. He struggled
Yeah.
that day as well. He struggles playing the ball out from that. He's not a ball playing centre back, or that's not how it's looked in the Leeds shirt anyway. 21s he was, but he's not particularly quick. He's not quick on the turn. I don't know whether he should be third choice, Paul. I think that's emotion talking. I genuinely think that Cooper's above him. I think Cooper's still above him. I think he's. I just think he's a better all-round option right now. Like, I think it's easy to be like, be nice to the young lad.
Would you still play 2 left-footed centre backs then, if say Rodon's out against? See, for me, I think you give Cresswell a chance. I really do, because I think with Cresswell you've got the potential, and I think with Cooper, he's at his ceiling. I don't see the point why are you keeping Cresswell around almost if he's not going to get minutes when the main right-footed centre back is out.
I think it depends who you're playing. I think it depends who you're playing against. Like if we've got Rotherham at home, play him. Rotherham away, even play him. Or whoever else is going to be down there. But I think if you're playing Southampton at home, I can totally and utterly understand why you would potentially go with Cooper over him. I get it. Again, I'm not saying it's the right or wrong decision, but I get it, is what I'm saying. And you've got to remember that Daniel Farke sees them all in training every single day. Daniel Farke is not going to just jeopardise what's happening on a Saturday because he wants to keep Liam Cooper happy. We're happy enough to bench him again today. So I truly do trust that Farke will pick the best, or his opinion of best choice centre-back based on what he's seen. And I do think it would probably be, in the big games, especially Cooper and Strike if Rodon was out.
Yeah, CB, he was good at Millwall. Maybe he's like drama and can't perform in a Leeds shirt.
It is very different.
Good as well, considering he's come through the ranks and everything. They're normally the best prepared for it, really, aren't they?
You say that, Paul. I mean, he scores goals and had the West Ham striker in his pocket in EPL. You're talking about Mikel Antonio. Yeah. He had an all right game that day, he did. And then in the last minute, he got tied in knots by Mikel Antonio and we lost. So, I mean, I'm, again, just playing devil's advocate. Like, and again, that is one isolated performance. I think that was his Premier League debut. It's bigger than that. We're doing this whole rhetoric youngster conversation that we kind of, if Cresswell were giving these performances at 28-year-old, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We'd be saying he's not good enough. Do you know what I mean? So it's because he's young, because he's a Leeds boy, he's been given the number 5, he's been given a 5-year contract. It's all the other reasons. And I'm not saying that we should give up hope on Charlie. Like, he's of course got potential. He's in England under 21 international. He's a top player. But I think right now you are running a potential risk by giving him a lot of game time in games that we need to win. We have just got better options right now.
Ted, thanks for your comment, mate. When Nonto and Spence return, we will be much stronger offensively. We are missing 2 strong players. I mean, to be honest, when Nonto comes back, I don't know how you keep everyone happy. I mean, it's going to be absurd, is that attacking line. But we know with Leeds what will happen. Someone else will get an injury, obviously. And
I think we miss it
that way.
I think Spence is a huge miss because the fullbacks are so massive in this formation and in Daniel Farke's system. And right now we're being hamstrung on both sides because we haven't got a natural left-footed left back and we've got Luke Ayling at right back. So we haven't got any real quality coming from them areas. And I don't want that to sound horrible towards Byram because I love Byram. I think he's been one of the revelations of the season. But again, going back to my point earlier, you see it so often down that left-hand side. He gets the ball delivered to him in great space. It's on his left foot. He tries to cross it and he scuffs the cross. Or he has to take a little bit longer with the cross, allowing defenders to get back into position because he has to set himself up to loft it rather than it being natural to play it in. I've just got to make a comment to Paul's comment about Woodgate. Again, we're doing the whole Messi would come back straight back into the team thing. You're talking about one of the best ever centre-backs to play for England, period, in Johnny Woodgate. I literally would put Johnny Woodgate above Rio Ferdinand in terms of ability. The problem with Johnny Woodgate was he could never stay fit. He was literally elite level centre-back. You can't compare Charlie Cresswell to Jonathan Woodgate. Yeah, play for Real Madrid and play 20 times or whatever it was for England, given the biscuit knees. Like, it's just not the same. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I was 17 or 18 when he brought for into the team, and he just was a Rolls Royce, wasn't he? Like, immediately, he was just elite, up to the level. Yeah, absolutely incredible. But yeah, lots of options, and when Jed Spence comes back, it will transform that side. You would have thinking it's desperately unlucky that he's got this injury. I mean, it really is just sod's law, because it could be a different game. Ashley, Nonto doesn't get back in at the minute straight away.
I agree.
No, I don't think so. I think so. I mean, it's going to be fascinating. It's going to be a fascinating battle when he comes back with all these wingers, and it's going to put us in a great position. My only concern is, it's like I said before, we've got a lot of really young attackers, and I suppose this is why with Jadon Anthony is a couple of years older than those guys, and you can see it. He just looks very smooth and a bit more composed, and yeah, it's going to be good though. I think it's going to be healthy for us. I mean, just hopefully it doesn't mean that anybody makes a go for the exit in January, but we've got
so many options, Brownie. I mean, and I think it's great. When we were talking about Pat earlier, you saw that he had a bit of hunger in his belly. He wanted to get about it. He wanted to get stuck in. I think you saw it a bit with Ayling as well tonight. He's got an opportunity to show that he wants that position back, regardless of his opinions on him or not. They all have things to play for. Because if they don't play it, look at Kamara tonight. He'll be gutted. Yeah. He's been kept out the team by a 17-year-old again tonight. You know what I mean? He's played in European internationals only 18 months ago or whatever it was with Rangers. Like, he's a top player. And after 2 starts for Leeds, he's back on the bench again and not even coming on. And that's because of that competition for place. And going back to my point from the other day, that's why it's so important that you do play people from the management aspect of looking after a team of players. That's why you have to reward on performance. So, when people are absolutely going mad, and I'm going to repeat, I think Rodon should have come back in at the weekend. But when people are going mad and that Cooper's kept his place, well, he kept his place from our best performance of the season when he played well, and they both played well together, Destroy and Cooper against Watford. So you play them. I get it. From the long-term perspective of managing a team of players, it makes sense. So and thankfully, he's shown us Daniel Farke tonight that he's prepared to then make the decisions the other way when it goes wrong. He's not just going to stand on with it, like we said earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing with Bamford is, he's only 30, so there's still a chance that, he can get up to a good level for us. I just feel with Ayling, I just don't think he's got it in his legs anymore, really.
32 now, isn't he?
Ayling. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's just, he's kind of, when you watch him play now, compared to 2-3 years ago in his pomp, I don't know if it's a mental thing as well, but the decision making, and for me it's just so far off it, to be honest.
I think Ayling's been like pretty much running to the ground. I don't think he's got anything left.
I think that's true.
After Bielsa, and it's understandable. Like, Luke Ayling was playing so far above his ability level every single week. He was playing out of his skin, way above the level that he actually really had, through motivation, confidence, the tactic. The worse the player, the more the tactic is operating the way that it should be, the more you can mask your deficiencies. And that's what happened to players like Luke Ayling. He was allowed to get away with not being the greatest player because the tactic was so good. And the players around him that did have quality, Calvin Phillips and, Pablo Hernandez, they allowed him to flourish as much as possible. And unfortunately for Luke, well, not unfortunately for Luke, because he's had a great career, but he's hit now 32. He's going to be 33 next. He's not got that much left. Some players retire at 33, 34. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, no, absolutely. And he did start off as a centre-back anyway, didn't he, in his earlier days? So it was a lot to ask of him anyway. Don James, if Firpo gets fit and stays fit, I think Farke will start him at left-back. Big question, isn't it? If he stays fit, that's my only problem. I mean, I could totally foresee a situation where he doesn't get back until towards the end of the season, then he's out of contract. And it'll be sayonara Firpo, but it would be good to get him back and have a natural left-footed left back there. And you know what? Actually, I hope he plays a little bit before the January transfer window. And if it still looks like this guy is not getting it, you've got to do something in January. Just get a proper left back in. Go for it.
I think we'll see some of him. I definitely think we'll see him get game time. And I think with the way that we're using Byram, it'll probably allow Firpo hopefully to not get so injured because he won't have to play every week or every few days or whatever. I think if they can both stay somewhat fit, we can kind of rotate between the two of them quite nicely, hopefully. I don't like Firpo. You know my opinions on Firpo. Jesus, don't get me started. But he definitely could have a part to play in the Championship. I'd still rather sign another left back, but
yeah.
Yeah,
no, absolutely. Good evening, Kevin. Thank you very much, mate. Pleasure as always. Let's see what else is saying. Paul, play your best players. Watford was pony.
We can't just say that when it suits, though, can we, Paul? Like, we battered Watford 3-0, but it were crap because they're now crap. Like, most of the teams in this division are not that good. QPR were very similar to Watford tonight. They had one shot on target all game. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we're playing. That they're the teams that we're up against week in, week out. So, I don't know.
Yeah. What about this one from Paul, though? It says Niall Huggins at right back at Sunderland, Leif Davis at left back at Ipswich, both ex-Leeds youth players. Both should still be Leeds players.
Paul, do you know how many appearances Niall Huggins has got for Sunderland in 2 seasons at Championship football?
Yeah, Paul, type your reply in, mate. Let us know what you think.
I'll tell you, it's 7. He's played 7 Championship games in 2 seasons. He most of the time he appears off the bench if he plays for Sunderland. So again, like, I know Sunderland are an all right side, but are we saying? And I like Niall Huggins. I remember him coming through. He showed good abilities, an inverted fullback and play both sides. He played well for the 23s. He was linked with Man City before Sunderland signed him. But again, this is what I'm saying about this kind of revisionist, like, go towards the youth team, blah, 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 and all the rest of it. Like, again, that's just one of them. If he was 28 and he had them stats, you wouldn't be saying that. But because he was young, come through at Leeds, well, he should be here and he should be an option. Like, it's not... That doesn't have to always be the solution. And when we sold Leif Davis, he'd come off the back of a loan season at Bournemouth. They replaced him with Zamora after about 2 months. And I think he played 10 games when Bournemouth got promoted. And Bournemouth didn't want to sign him. And bear in mind, we were then still a Premier League team. And he then got sold to Ipswich in League One. So not a single Championship team wanted him. He had to then rebuild back in League One. And he's done great. In League One, he was a top assist maker in Europe, but in League One, yeah, like, in a great team. Kieran McKenna plays great football, but again, it's not just as cut and dry, is it? Like, when you actually paint that picture, if you weren't a Leeds fan and you were looking at that situation, you wouldn't have been going, Leif Davis is a solution. Well, he's been sold to League One. We were in the Premier League. You know what I mean? Do you get what I mean? You wouldn't be looking at it like that.
No, exactly. Some comments coming in from Farker now post-match. To answer, a disappointing result at Southampton with a win is fantastic. On the second half, you don't score the second goal and all of a sudden the opponent thinks there's a chance, says Leeds dominated every statistic. Overall, Farker happy and proud with his players after the Southampton defeat. The next game is difficult to grind out a result. It's never champagne or fireworks. It's hard work. Shackleton apparently missed out with a shoulder problem as well.
Interesting.
So, yeah, interesting that. I don't know if...
I didn't even notice they weren't on the bench. Were he not on the bench?
No, he wasn't.
Oh, that's interesting. No. Well, that does kind of change the conversation. Would he have started over Earling? We don't know now, do we?
No, exactly. So, I mean, that bench, I'm looking at the bench tonight. It's a damn strong bench. You look at someone like Joe Gellert and it's like a forgotten man, isn't it? You know, I can't see him getting hardly any minutes at all. I don't know where he's going to find the time. I mean, he certainly seems to prefer Poveda coming on. And to be honest, Poveda's looked pretty sharp when he has played.
Puts himself about as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
He gets himself for such a small, diminutive lad. He puts himself about. I thought it was interesting that he got like 10 minutes tonight. I mean, he's fighting his way into the team, and I quite like it. He's clearly got talent, Whether it's enough to, play regular for Leeds or not, I'm not sure. But if Farke trusts him with minutes, he clearly is putting it in where it counts. So
yeah, no, absolutely. Going forward, then, Jason, at the weekend it's Bristol City. I mean, you'd be expecting another 3 points there. Certainly, I would suspect. I know Bristol have actually won, haven't they? They've beaten Rotherham away today, but you would still expect 3 points to Leeds. For me, I want to see us getting going because we seem a bit split as a fan base at the moment. So you've got half the fan base saying it's early, there's a lot of points to go, we don't have to be too concerned, we are in sixth. Then you've got another part of the fan base saying, oh my God, look at Leicester, look at Ipswich, they're running away with it, etc., etc. For me, we need to get going. We need to really, for me, get going with things. I think. Leicester again, they've battered Preston tonight, haven't they? I mean, they just look so in their groove at the moment. But yeah, I mean, that's what was so disappointing about the Southampton game, Jason. I just felt like I want to see us go on a really, really good run. I'm not totally convinced by tonight's performance, I must say. And it's like I said this on our review show we did on Monday. I think Farke has been amazing in how he's handled everything. But I think we can be a bit quick as a fan base to like deify someone and it's the new messiah and it's, he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I think, we've got to wait this thing out. We've got to wait this thing out. Now, I do think he will hopefully see the mission through, but we can't lose ground that much. For me, that squad, that is really automatics for me. I think it's good enough for automatics. I do.
I think you've just, again, I would always rather...
Despite some imbalances.
Yeah, I would rather always deal with it with some perspective. Ipswich have been building what they've got under Kieran McKenna now for a couple of years, and they've carried on last year's form into this season. By the way, we're the only team to beat them. Let's just remember that. Yeah, when we were all over the place still, putting stuff together and getting the team together. Yeah, we've still only lost twice in 10 games, and Ipswich and Leicester have lost once. Right, so we've lost one more game than them. Yeah, and sure, we've drawn a few too many games, but we know we've watched every single minute of Leeds United this season. There were fine margins, weren't there? The Cardiff game and everything that we had to kind of deal with and contend with in pre-season was worse than Leicester and Southampton. It was like, it doesn't make the table any nicer, but the club and Daniel Farke told us the first month would be tricky, and it was tricky. We missed out on points that we would have hoped to have taken. We didn't. I expect Leicester to still go through a period of time where they drop points. Preston were flying. Well, straight, now they've lost 2 of the last 3. They've not won in 4 games. They've dropped something like 9 points in the last 12 or something daft. So it's gonna swing. I wouldn't imagine that Ipswich will carry on just winning every game either. I think Leicester probably will win a lot of games. I would expect Leicester to continue what they've started. They've got so much quality in that team. And they've hit the ground running, which is great for form and all the rest of it. But it ain't going to continue like this all season. They're not just going to carry on winning every single week. They're going to have injuries as well. So, and like a couple of people have mentioned there, we have missed a couple of recruitment points. Paul mentions about Amari there. I do think that was a huge miss. Huge miss, because that's similar to them signing Mavididi. Mavididi is a European level player.
Did you and Paul just agree on something?
We did.
There you go.
You see, I can be right. I don't just stick in for the sake of it, But no, it's massive. Like Amari would have been Amiri in it. He would have been just a cut above, and he would have filled that space that we needed. And we did need a left back, and we've given all that we had to do in the summer window, I think we came out of it as an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 window, really. It would have been made a 10 out of 10 if we'd have got them 2 deals done as well. So we have still got holes in the team that we can't now fill until January. So hopefully we put ourselves in a position where we may be, 6, 9 points behind the top 2 come January. We're in, we're bedded in the playoffs, and then we can build into the second half of the season when hopefully Daniel Farke has grown this team even more. Piroe's fully firing and getting on the end of them chances instead of, the chance of being snuffed out, and fingers crossed, maybe even Firpo comes back in and plays a part on that left side. Jed Spence. I think Jed Spence is massive. I think he's massive to what we can do going forward.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go, Paul. Eureka, Jayson. There's hope for you yet. Is this Steve Downs in disguise?
Isn't it? Yeah.
He's like, is this his burner account or something that he's using here? Interesting. I mean, we're away now for the international break after the Bristol game, and then it's a right set of fixtures when we come back. I mean, it's Norwich away straight off the bounce. We've got an easier game against Stoke, but then Huddersfield, it's the Terriers on the 28th of October, and then followed up just a few days later by Leicester City away. So, I mean, it's straight bang back into the action, isn't it, from that international break? A lot of high-pressure games there, isn't there, really, Jayson?
Norwich have lost 3 of the last 4,
Yeah, they have, yeah.
And they're on funky form after starting quite well. Everybody were kind of saying, oh, Norwich are going to be the team to come into it, and now they've dropped off and fallen off. Obviously, Southampton have just come off the back of losing 4 in a row. The Championship's a bit mental, isn't it? We know that. Yeah. Cardiff, we were all kind of scoffing at that result earlier on in the season when we drew 2-2. They're in 8th. They've played really well this season. They've taken some really surprising results to found themselves up towards the playoffs. So maybe that result weren't as bad considering everything that we had going on at the time, being 2-0 down, all the rest of it. Championship's weird, and there'll be results all over the place between now and the end of the season. So let's just the great thing about the Championship is we go into every game believing that we can win every game. We genuinely believe that. Yeah,
I mean, I would say probably 85% of the games we've been involved in, probably every game, talent-wise, we're on another level to the team that we're playing. And you feel that every game. When you're watching Rutter and some of the stuff he can do, and the opposition teams have nobody on that level at all.
I think Southampton is the exception to that this season.
Southampton's the exception. Yeah,
I think Southampton we were really poor on the day, and they were okay with a lot to play for. There were a lot riding on that game for them, and I just think it was just a bad day at the office for us. I don't think it was anything too alarming long term to get worried about. But they did have. That was the only game this season where I felt like we deserved to lose this game. Even Birmingham. We didn't really deserve to lose that game, really. There was nothing in that game. No. It was just a crap game. So, yeah, I'd agree with you.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. At least we feel like we can go into every game winning it compared to what we've had for the last couple of seasons, certainly. When it comes to playing Leicester, I know it's a few games away, but I mean, that is going to be, is it, let me have a look. That must be like a TV game or something, surely. Yeah, it's an 8 o'clock kickoff, 3rd of November. So let's have a look. What's 3rd of November?
Is it home or away? I can't remember.
It's a Friday night. It's away. Friday night away. So it's going to be, that is going to be, that's one of them games, if we could beat them and kind of, turn it around a little bit, it'd be absolutely fantastic. But we'll wait and see.
It's completely unacceptable that we don't turn up that day. That's the long and short of that game. Because against Southampton, we didn't turn up. So we need to go there and we need to put on a performance. And if we come out second best because they're the better team on the day, because they're the better team, then fine. But we need to show that we can compete with them. We should be able to. No reason why we can't. Their defensive records are nuts. So I've just got the table up. They've only conceded 6 goals in 10 games. It's pretty crazy, really.
Just a couple more comments from Farker talking about Rutter and Piroe. Thinks the numbers are good and says that they can't be expected to shine in every game. He said Joel didn't have his best day, let's be honest, but he's important for us. Farker on Bamford's performance, it's top draw to have an option like Patrick there. We've missed him while he was away, and to be able to bring on a proven goal scorer at this level was quite crucial.
Great analysis, spot on, perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. It's plenty of options, isn't there? And you never know, might be light at the end of the tunnel for Bamford after last season, certainly. Just before we go, I know we don't normally cover it on the Leeds match review, but we are the West Yorkshire Football Show, and we do have videos where we take a look at Bradford City as well. Just a quick comment from you on Mark Hughes getting the boot. Expected?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we do a lot of chatting with Gaz, don't we? Who does
Yes.
a lot of our content for Bradford City, and I don't think it's completely it's not unexpected at all. I think it was one bad result for about 3 weeks away from him probably seeing the exit door, and then the result of the weekend kind of at home resigned him to the exit door, and I think for Bradford now, I think this decision is massive. There's a lot of unrest from the fans. They're not making football decisions in the right way. They've not got football people around them to advise them of the right decisions. And I think before they make any shotgun decisions, I think they would be wise to probably just slow down, go and maybe do some recce work, maybe bring in a football director of some sort to maybe help them make this decision, similar to maybe what we did with Nick Hammond on a League Two level. Sometimes taking that little bit longer can be the best way to go about these decisions. So, truthfully, I'm a Bradford lad, so I hope they do quite well. I have no accident with Bradford,
Well, they've got to get. For me, they've got to get someone in with League Two knowledge, though, which Hughes didn't really have. Because if they're not careful, this is going to be, they're going to be looking down rather than up if they don't start to turn this around.
I said it to Gaz the other day. I can't believe, very similar to when we were in League One, that they can't go out in the League Two market and just bully a top League Two club or bottom League One club into their manager. The Cambridge manager, I forget his name now, like the ex-midfielder, they're flying in League One after getting promoted from League Two. He's built, really, really good, platform there. No way would he not want to come to a club like Bradford City in League Two over Cambridge. It's a huge step up in terms of the size of the club. Just go and get him. You know what I mean? Go and make a decision like that. But you have to have the right football strategy behind. You have to have the football strategy behind the appointment. It can't just be Hollywood, because that's what Mark Hughes was. There was no strategy or idea around bringing Mark Hughes in. It was bring him in. Hopefully he can galvanise people because of who he is. Hopefully we might be able to attract a few players to come and play for him because of who he is. Off you go. That's not an idea. That's not a football strategy.
No, definitely not. And hopefully we'll be chatting to Gaz on the channel soon in the next few days. Get his thoughts on that. It will be fascinating. Just going back to the Leeds game today then, Jason, just before we leave, your man of the match, please.
Pascal Struijk.
Pascal Struijk.
I think Rutter had a very, very good first half. I think Archie had a very, very good first half as well. Meslier, big save at the end, but didn't have too much else to do. There were definitely a couple of shoutouts. I think Jaden Anthony was really, really good in pockets. But for me, I thought Pascal bossed the game today. I thought he had a really, really good reading of the game.
Even the QPR commentator said Pascal has looked Premier League tonight.
I heard that right towards the end of the game. And he did. He read the game really, really well. He was quick. He was decisive. He was strong. He carried the ball out of the back well. His distribution was excellent. Almost faultless. The only mistake that Struijk made in the whole game nearly resulted in their goal. In the goal, he missed the first header, and the flick on got through. But that can happen. You're not going to win every single header. I thought it was excellent tonight. Definitely deserved man of the match for me.
Yeah, we should start making this a feature now. We'll give our man of the match each game. I agree with you. Let's give it to Pascal, because the redemption of Pascal is a narrative that I'm really enjoying this season, and long may it continue.
So let me just say, he's so much better next to Rodon.
Yeah,
them two just they look so comfortable together.
Well, just look at the ball. He could play at the end because it was left-footed and it was in his area of the pitch. And, it just makes sense, doesn't it? Come on, let's not mess about paying Pascal at right centre-back. Lovely. Okay, so I think we're just about finished up. I want to thank everybody for watching the video, liking, subscribing, etc. If you've been listening on Spotify, much appreciated as well. Myself and Jason, we will be back to review the game at the weekend. Might be a little bit later than normal, potentially. Maybe even might be a Sunday review, because a certain person is going to the game at the weekend.
Oh, yeah, you've got tickets, haven't you?
I've got tickets, yes.
I can't be Mrs. Brown, can I? Yeah, remember.
It's the full hospitality as well, mate.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Meal and everything, so yeah.
Hopefully
I don't get too drunk before the game even kicks off, but, if it's free drinks, I can't be held responsible, can I?
It's not your fault then, is it, really?
It's not my fault, no, so we'll see if I can make the review. But yeah, at some point, excuse me, at some point, we will get a review out for that game. But yeah, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I've been Stephen Brown. With me has been Jayson Bucket. Jason, go get some sleep, mate.
Yeah, I need it, mate.
Go get some sleep.
I need it.
Good stuff. Thanks for watching. We'll be back again soon. Thank you.
Cheers.